Hi there, I'm Lisa Burkhart-Worley of Pearls of Promise Ministries, and I want to invite you to a very special event coming up October 9th at Northview Baptist Church in Lewisville, Texas. It's our own Pearls of Promise Ministries Level Up Women's Conference. We're going to be running from about 9:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon, just one day. And in that day, we're going to be leveling up truth, leveling up trust, and leveling down trials. Our guest speaker this time is Rebecca Carroll. She's the morning show host on KCBI Radio. We're also going to have Gateway Church's Elizabeth Settle, and our entire Pearls of Promise ministry team will be speaking, so you will not want to miss it. You can find your tickets on Eventbrite. I hope you'll join us.
Hello, I'm Lisa Burkhart-Worley, and welcome to Pop Talk, the show where you never know what subjects might pop up. I'm wondering, were you ever a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout, maybe a Brownie? I was a Brownie. You know, those organizations have changed a great deal since maybe you were in the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts. And today we're going to be talking to a couple of leaders of a new organizations that are going to have a Christian perspective on these types of organizations and groups. And so we're going to be speaking to them in just a minute. But first, I want to introduce our Pop Talk co-host. To my far left is Rosemary LeGrand.
Hello, everyone.
And then next to her is Dr. Lynette Sim.
Hello.
Well, today we have two guests, and so we've had to squeeze in here at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention. And we're going to introduce the executive director of the American Heritage Girls. She's the founder as well. Her name's Patti Garibay, and she is doing a great work and bringing girls into an organization where God can be spoken about, all right? And so we're going to talk to her more about that. We also have the CEO of Trail Life USA. His name is Mark Hancock. Now, let me go back to Patti for a minute. Prior to founding American Heritage Girls, which is a national Christ-centered leadership and character development program, Patti served as an active leader and a volunteer in the Girl Scouts. She is the author of Why Curse the Darkness When You Can Light a Candle? And she's been featured on a lot of national news shows like Fox News, Family Life Radio, Time Magazine, the New York Times, and James Dobson's Family Talk. She was named a Woman of Excellence by the Westchester, Ohio Liberty Chamber Alliance in 2004. Then I want to introduce our guy guest. He's kind of outnumbered here today. His name is Mark Hancock. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Trail Life USA, and he's an award-winning author, writer, and conference speaker. He is the author of the book, Why Are We Sitting Here Until We Die? And we're going to talk to him about that. I couldn't just talk to him about Trail Life. We have to ask him about that book. He's also authored 2 booklets, Let Boys Be Boys, 3 Winning Strategies for Leaders of Boys, and 5 Critical Needs of Boys. He holds 2 master's degrees in the mental health counseling field. He's spent a number of years in private practice. He's taught at secular and Christian colleges. So today, we are talking about the 2 alternatives to the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts, and they are called the American Heritage Girls and Trail Life USA. So the first question that comes to my mind is, why did you form these 2 groups? Can you give us some background?
Patti, why don't you go first, okay, since you started first?
Since my organization, I guess, is the oldest, right?
Yeah.
In 1993, the Girl Scouts USA decided to make a very big decision, and that was to change the Girl Scout promise that I assure you that you recited as a young girl that included the word God. Well, no longer after 1993 does a Girl Scout have to say the word God. As a Christian mom who used Girl Scouting as her ministry, it really made me question, why would they do this? I mean, after all, it's a character development program, and character development has morals affiliated with it, and what is the value system that will be creating this character? And I started to discover a whole lot of other agendas that were not quite evident to me just as a leader, but upon research, I discovered unbelievable stuff that they were trying to teach the girls. And so I tried to make changes on the local level, tried to make changes on the national level, which I think we're called to do, not just curse the darkness, but rather we had to light the candle and start something new because this agenda had been going on far too long, since the 70s when Betty Friedan actually was on the board of directors for the Girl Scouts USA. Wow.
Goes way back, right?
Yeah.
Mark, why don't you tell us about Trail Life?
Trail Life has a very similar story, but about 15 years later, about 8 years ago, the Boy Scouts began to abandon some of their traditional values, and we knew that churches that chartered Boy Scout troops were going to have trouble. So Trail Life USA formed 8 years ago to be unapologetically Christian and boy-focused, which is a big deal in the culture today. You know, as it seems to be popular to say that boys and girls are the same, we believe that boys and girls are different. We love organizations like American Heritage Girls, that's designed for girls, and Trail Life USA is designed for boys. We understand that boys are different and need a program that's designed for the strength. So in the last 8 years, we've grown to over 30,000 members and 850 churches in all 50 states, because parents are saying, yeah, this makes sense. This is kind of a crazy culture that we're in right now, but an organization that takes Christian men, good, strong Christian mentors, and puts them in the outdoors with boys is a good thing. Boys love that activity. They love being outdoors. The outdoors is a great place to learn about your Creator and encounter Him and learn new things, and it's just exploding because of that.
I love it.
You know, Patti, you served for 12 years as an active leader and a volunteer,
Yes.
you know, for the Girl Scouts
Yes.
of the USA. But you heard the voice of God to start the American Heritage Girls. How is that structure different from the Girl Scout? And is that an evangelical outreach?
Oh, absolutely. It truly is an evangelical outreach. But not only that, we started to look, well, what allowed the Girl Scouts to change their mission so dramatically? What were not there, the safeguards that were necessary? And what that is the ownership of the ministry. American Heritage Girls is a ministry. It uses Scout-type principles and methods. However, it is owned by the church. And the church is aligned with a statement of faith that allows us to know that we've got solid churches, because not all churches are solid, are they? And also all of our adults that serve also are aligned with that statement of faith. However, it is an evangelical outreach to any girl, whether she is churched or not. So it is a beautiful ministry of the church to reach the lost and also to disciple those that do know the Lord.
Mark, I just wanted to touch on yours. I did my doctorate in education, and one of the things that I focused on was gender differences, explaining how God made us different.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you were talking about that boys and girls are different, and they really are. I mean, it's not that girls can't learn math or science, it's just how we learn is so totally different. But there's such a crisis with boys. I mean, boys are turning to the digital world, video games, digital media, internet. Girls are as well, but it's just so predominant in boys. Can you talk to how that type of environment is affecting our boys, and then how Trail Life USA is changing that for our boys?
Yeah, well, it's a perfect storm against boys right now. And when you look at that virtual world, it feeds all those things that are naturally in boys. Risk, competition. You know, boys love to compete. I mean, you got two 5-year-old boys walk up to you and they want to go to the water fountain. You've just fired the starter's pistol. I mean, it's a race. They're going to run. Boys naturally compete, and we've taken that away from them in society. Everybody gets a trophy. Well, in a boy's head, it's like, what do you mean everybody gets a trophy? I did better. And boys keep score. The adults may not be keeping score. The boys are keeping score. And they're just naturally wired that way. God made them that way. Love that you've done research in that area. And Let Boys Be Boys, which is a mini book that we offer, we talk about these critical differences and the strategies that as adults we need to approach. And so we learn things from things that are attracted to boys, like video games. We learn things that are attracted to boys, like gangs. Gangs have figured it out. Your boys have a gyroscope that says they will respond if you make clear who's in charge, who's with me, and what is our mission. Gangs are really good about that, and that's why they can recruit so strongly. We don't do that in other places. But in Trail Life USA, it's very clear who's in charge. You're setting in a patrol as a boy, and you elect a leader, or you become a leader, and you're setting the course, and you learn how to lead in such a way that's palatable to other people, not to rule your leadership over, but to understand great lessons learned there. So they know who's in charge. They know who's with them. That patrol has an identity, like in a gang where they have colors. Our patrols will have patches or a flag or a name or a call. So they know who they're a part of, something bigger than they are, which is vital for boys. Yes. And the third thing, what is our mission? Gangs are real good at setting missions. boys will die in a gang for the mission of a gang. Well, in Trail Life, we set healthy missions. You know, you guys plan our camp out. Plan the week that we're going to spend in the wilderness hiking 50 miles. Or plan a breakfast. Who's going to make breakfast tomorrow? Who's going to clean up afterwards? Who's going to set up the fire? Who's going to set up the tent? So the boys are constantly making these plans to work together, completing missions together, learning how to work with somebody else. And those are powerful for it. They rise to those sorts of occasions. There's a built-in gyroscope. If you can answer those 3 questions for a boy, you have his heart. That's why gangs are winning. But we've learned that in Trail Life USA, and boys are just loving being in an environment that finally says, if you work hard at something, you'll be rewarded.
Amen.
If you work harder than somebody else, your reward will be better than somebody else. And that's a real life lesson that boys need to learn.
Have you ever rescued anyone from a gang at all? I mean, do you ever go into the gangs or try to pull people out? Or
Our troops are all individually chartered. So if it's in a church mission to move in that environment, that church is certainly taking that troop and then doing that. From a national level, we don't dictate the makeup of that troop. But if churches are active, because we're an outreach of the local church, like American Heritage Girls, we're not just a place for a troop to meet. We are a ministry of that local church. And if that church is doing that work, that troop is doing that work.
So how many churches are you guys working with?
We're in over 850 churches.
That's amazing. And how does it interface? Can you explain that?
Yeah, church, typically there's a man in the community who says, listen, I want to minister to boys. Boys need my help. Boys need help. And I enjoy the outdoors. I like the brotherhood of men. I like to be with other men and raising boys. And so they will approach a pastor and say, can we begin a troop of the church? And that buy-in of that pastor, or that understanding of that pastor, the power in the ministry to men and boys that comes through Trail Life, when that pastor, when his eyes are open to that, then he's all in. And once the church is behind it, they're recruiting the leaders and they're building the program. We always tell them, all you need is 5 leaders. And they're like, how many boys do we need? Don't worry about the boys. You get your 5 leaders, boys will come out of the woodwork.
Wow.
Because parents are looking for this opportunity, a place to put their sons that agrees with their values, that gets their son outdoors and away from the video games, that gets them around Christian men who are good role models for them. So in a church, troops grow so rapid. I'm sure they do for American Heritage Girls too, because parents are looking for these kind of opportunities. Where are our like-minded people today? The culture is a crazy place. So where can I find people who believe radical things like boys and girls are different?
Yeah.
Or that a male-focused environment is good for boys.
Right.
You know, those are the kind of things that we're saying, and they seem radical. They used to be ordinary to us, but there are still people out there who believe it. Right now we're 30,000 strong.
Wow, that's great. 30,000,
That's great.
amazing.
You know, Patti, you and Mark, have been interviewed numerous times on national television. But Patti, you do have an actual Raising Godly Girls, a 1-minute radio feature. Now that is heard all over the United States. Tell me a little bit about that outreach, and how could you share some of the topics that you cover?
Absolutely. Raising Godly Girls, when we turned 25 years old, as per is American Heritage Girls, we wanted to give a gift rather than receive one. And so we gave a gift to the nation's parents. And that is how to deal with today's problems. And so we deal with things like anxiety, fear, suicide, cutting, self-esteem, and we address those in this 1-minute feature heard across the nation on various radio stations. You can also learn about these topics by visiting AmericanHeritageGirls.org, our blog, where you can just scroll down and see all the different issues that are confronting your daughter. Click on that and learn more. What we do is we address the issue. We bring a scriptural antidote to that, a relief for it, and then a call to action on how you can incorporate that into your family's life.
In addition to that, Patti, you wrote this, Why Curse the Darkness When You Can Light a Candle? We didn't get a chance to go over this too much, but I wanted you to give us the elevator pitch. Tell us what this is about.
Absolutely. If you are a viewer or a listener that believes God is calling you to something, but you feel ill-equipped or unable because you are less than. Maybe you're a jack of all trades and a master of none, which is how I felt. And so many moms feel that way. But yet God is calling you to something big. Well, I was blessed by my earthly father who was acutely ill. It's a story really about a father's love. not just here on earth, but also with the Heavenly Father, and the journey that just ensued. And how when the Lord calls you to something, He will bring you through it and He will equip you.
You know, I did get the book, and I got it Saturday, so I didn't have a chance to read it, but I'm all about that because I was fatherless, and so I can't wait. I've got my own fatherless book, but I want to read that about the father's love. So I'm really motivated.
Good.
So I'm going to read that. But Mark, you also have a book.
I do.
And I don't know if it has anything to do with Trail Life USA, but I love the title, and it drew me in. And it's called Why Are We Sitting Here Until We Die?
Yeah.
So will you please tell us about what the content of that book is about?
Oh, I would love to. That actually comes from 2 Kings chapter 7.
Okay.
And it's a situation where a city is under siege, and outside at the gates of the city sit 4 lepers. And they're looking at the city starving behind them, and they're looking at the enemy camp out there. And one turns to the other and says, why are we sitting here until we die? If we go inside the city, we'll starve. If we go out to the enemy, we'll be killed. So why are we sitting here until we die? And at that moment that they ask the question, God moves over that enemy camp with a sound, and the enemies abandon all of the goods. And so these lepers go out to the camp and come upon all the food, the clothing, the animals, bring it back to the city and set the city free. So the point is what Patti's talking about. Sometimes we need to say, why am I sitting here? Why am I just sitting here until I die? You know, I sometimes in my mind I'm picturing a man sitting in the pew of a church.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe it's time for me to get up, ask that question, have God move and deliver a treasure for me to bring back to the city, the same way He did for the lepers. And we believe the treasure in Trail Life is these boys, a lost generation.
That's right.
And if men will stand up from that place in the pew and say, I'm going to go find the treasure, God will move and deliver that treasure and deliver a generation. So that's why are we sitting here until we die? That's a question for all men. It's for women too, but it's my story written over the last 7 years. I traveled around the world doing evangelistic campaigns all over the world. And I first heard that question in Ghana, Africa, from a man who I'd never heard speak before. When he spoke that question, it was like, wow, I need to ponder that question for a while, and that's what
I think it's a good question for all of us to ask if we're sitting and we're not doing anything for the kingdom. We have to ask that question of ourselves, right?
We have to.
Absolutely.
So I just want to ask, what does the future look like for Trail Life USA and American Heritage Girls? Are there any plans even to innovate in the outreach? Or Patti, any one of you can answer first.
Absolutely, I'll answer real quick. Truly, my hope and dream for the future is to do God's will. You know, He's the great multiplier. He is the numbers guy. I dare not ever try to say I have a goal of so many members. This was God's ministry from the beginning, and it will be to the end. However, I'm very excited about our new leadership curricula for the girls called GRIT with Grace, and GRIT standing for Girls Rooted in Truth, and leading from a space of grace. And we're excited about what that can do to the future of our country too, because they're great influencers.
Yeah. We're envisioning a generation of boys that isn't just prepared to navigate these uncertain seas, but is prepared to actually take on the tide and turn it themselves. You know, we need to grow a generation. This generation may be lost already. It's hard to say.
Wow,
Folks
I hate
our
to
age,
say that.
Yeah,
No,
our
let's don't
age,
say
it may
that.
be too late for us. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we can pour something into these boys and these young women, and they will be the ones who save us, because they stand up in such a way that they recognize truth a lot easier than we do now, as adults in many cases, because they're in a developmental phase where things can make sense to them a lot easier, even in spite of a crazy culture. Because remember, they're being raised in this crazy culture. We weren't. We make a lot of assumptions about things. They have to test them. And I really believe that God has a remnant in these young women and young men that are being raised in these programs, and that remnant is going to rise and deliver us.
Yeah.
So we're excited about a future of young men and young women who are hungry for Him.
Can you guys just talk about the joy that you're receiving, the blessing that you're receiving from the work that you're doing?
Wow, well,
That's a loaded
if I
question.
this book, it sort of shows something very personal. That is my granddaughter, who is
wow.
now an American Heritage Girl. And so to see the fruits of that work come intergenerationally, it's pretty much blows your mind. And we are unworthy of seeing the fruits in our lifetime. We truly are. We should labor not expecting fruits, but the Lord is so good. So that's just one area. But to hear the stories and to know the impact and to hear about, we're 25 years old, so we have alumni now that are reporting back about the influence that this program has had on their life. And so that is a blessing untold.
That's great. You.
Yeah, our home campus is in Greenville, south of Greenville, South Carolina. We have a 127-acre campus, and we have a pond there where every boy in the world can catch a fish, and many have caught their first. I was walking around one time, and there was a grandfatherly age man, and he stopped me, and he said, "You see that man over there?" And he pointed across the pond, and there was a man putting a worm on a boy's hook. I said, "Yeah." He says, "That's my son. And see that boy? That's my grandson." I said, "That's wonderful." I thought, okay. He says, "No, you don't understand. My son and I haven't spoken in years." He says, "But we have both joined Trail Life together, and here I am on a weekend camping with my son and his grandson."
Got some chills.
And he says, "I get a chance to do it all over again with my son, and it's making him a better dad too." So when you see that, it's like, you know what? I give up, Lord. Yeah, this has been hard. We had to move our family. We had to give up a lot of things to make this happen. But my gosh, that's just to hear those kind of stories. And who knows how many times that's being repeated. That's just a guy you ran across. But that's the gold right there. That's the prize.
Amen. I love it. Thank you all so much.
Well, thank you so much for being part of Pop Talk. We just can't wait to have more people join Heritage and Trail Life. So if you want to find more about American Heritage Girls, you can look them up at americanheritage.org. If you'd like to get some more information about Trail Life USA, then check them out at traillifeusa.com.
Yes, it's been great having you guys on the show. Thank you so much. I hope that you'll grow even more through being on Pop Talk. And we'd love for you guys to reach out to us here at Pearls of Promise Ministries. We're the producers of Pop Talk. You can email us at info@pearlsofpromiseministries.com. Our website is pearlsofpromiseministries.com. We're also on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Pop Talk Media, and on Instagram at Pop Ministries.
And thanks to all of our television network, Faith Unveiled, Paula White's Life Network for Women, King Television, Overcomers TV, CTV, and a special Channel 49 newcomer for us.
And we want to thank Grace Point Media. For all your media needs, go to gracepoint.media. Well, before we close the show, I know you're very curious still about American Heritage Girls and Trail Life USA. We're going to show you a little bit more right now.
Having them part of an organization where God is really the center is really very important for me.
I like spending more time with God and Jesus, having friends, doing games. I like having snacks, and I like doing crafts, and I like just about everything.
HG has really showed me how to be a good leader, and it showed me how to really appreciate other leaders and the direction of leaders, which has helped me lead better.
I just really enjoy it, and it's been a perfect fit for my family. I really enjoy connecting with my friends and with God and having a lot of fun.
I enjoy being a leader because I like being able to have our unit time kind of be our unit time and let the leaders kind of step away, and it's really just a fun opportunity for us to just kind of explore and get to know each other better that way.
Everyone's always working together. If you're not doing something right, you can depend on somebody else to help you and be able to answer your question.
It's a place where they meet other girls their age, younger than them, but also older than them. Girls that, again, are on the same path, on the same journey that they are in life, in their relationship with God. And it just provides a unique opportunity for them really to grow. And so donating to HG allows HG to continue that mission of raising godly women.
Whether leader or girl, family or friend, make a difference today by pledging to enrich a girl's life and the lives around her. This year, your donation will cover the advancement of girl leadership, as well as the cost of bringing American Heritage Girls' Christ-centered program to girls and leaders worldwide. Give now, and together we can impact the kingdom for Christ.
And that is Pop Talk for today. We're just ordinary girls
who God is turning into pearls.
I hope you have a great week.
Hi there, I'm Lisa Burkhart Worley of Pearls of Promise Ministries, and I want to invite you to a very special event coming up October 9th at Northview Baptist Church in Lewisville, Texas. It's our own Pearls of Promise Ministries Level Up Women's Conference. We're going to be running from about 9:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon, just one day. And in that day, we're going to be leveling up truth, leveling up trust, and leveling down trials. Our guest speaker this time is Rebecca Carroll. She's the morning show host on KCBI Radio. We're also going to have Gateway Church's Elizabeth Settle, and our entire Pearls of Promise ministry team will be speaking, so you will not want to miss it. You can find your tickets on Eventbrite. I hope you'll join us.